Good evening, one and all. I welcome all the participants to day 9 of virtual internship on IoT project development using industry grade microcontroller. Yesterday, I was discussing about analog to digital conversion. So today I will continue with the same topic. So yesterday I discussed there are 5 SFRs associated with on-chip ADC module. ADC stands for analog to digital converter. On-chip ADC is 10 bits in PIC 18F4520. There are some PIC devices where on-chip ADC module has resolution of 12 bits. So let us quickly revise 5 SFRs and then we'll start writing the C code. These first two registers, ADRESH and ADRESL. This stands for AD result high register, AD result low register. These two registers together save 10-bit result. Then there are three control registers, ADCON 0, ADCON 1, ADCON 2. Yesterday we discussed what is the purpose of ADCON 0 register. With the help of ADCON 0 register, we can select one particular channel for conversion of analog signal to digital signal. So with the help of 4 bits in this register, we can select channel for ADC conversion. Go done bit is used for two different purposes. When we set go bit to 1, ADC conversion process starts. This bit is automatically cleared by hardware when conversion process completes. And last bit is AD on. This bit is used to enable or disable on-chip ADC module. So in the applications where you require on-chip ADC module, this bit must be set to 1. So when we write the code word by combining 4 bits here, our code word becomes for first 4 bits hexadecimal digit is 0 and last 4 bits hexadecimal digit is 1. So code word is 0x01. So this code word will we will use in our C code. Then ADCON 1 register. First 2 bits are unimplemented. We can write any value here. Next 2 bits are used for negative reference selection and positive reference selection. So we have selected on-chip ground pin for negative reference and we have selected on-chip 5 volt source for positive reference. So for on-chip ground and on-chip 5 volt selection, VCFG1 and VCFG0 bit must be 00. Last 4 bits are used for deciding which pins are analog pins and which pins are digital pins. And what we want is, we want AN0 pin analog and rest of the pins digital. So last 4 bits must be 1110. So what is our code word here? 0x0e. Then third control register is ADCON 2. There are two ways to save the result, right justified and left justified. For right justified format, ADFM bit must be 1. Next bit is unimplemented. Then there are 3 bits, ACQ T2, ACQ T1, ACQ T0. So these 3 bits are used to decide acquisition time. So depending upon values of these 3 bits, hardware automatically takes into account required acquisition time. So this required acquisition time could be 0 TAD, 2 TAD, 4 TAD, 6 TAD and so on. This acquisition time we are supposed to select based upon how much time is required for on-chip capacitor to charge. And for one example given in this application note, this is around 2.4 microseconds. So acquisition time must be greater than this. And we have selected acquisition time equal to 8 TAD. So bit combination is 1000. Last 3 bits are used for selection of clock frequency for ADC module. And we have selected clock frequency for ADC module equal to F oscillator by 4. So for this, last 3 bits must be 100. So when you combine 4 bits, hexadecimal digit becomes A, and when you combine last 4 bits, hexadecimal digit become 4. So code word is 0xA4. Now we will understand how to write the code. What I have done is code that we have already written for LCD interfacing, same code I have taken as it is. I have used 8-bit mode for LCD. So same code I have taken. Initially, you must include header file xc.h, then configuration bits. You can set with the help of hash pragma directive. So this part is as it is. I have defined here global variables. There are 4 global variables, M1, M2, M3, M4. And these 4 global variables are character type, unsigned characters, 8-bit. So any variable that you create outside the main function becomes global variable. Then for LCD interfacing, same previous code is used, wherein enable pin of LCD is connected to RC2, register select pin of LCD is connected to RC1 pin of the microcontroller. Meaning of delay MS subroutine is exactly similar to our previous code. SM delay, again it is used for generating small delay. LCD string, LCD INIT, LCD CMD, LCD data, all these functions we already discussed. These functions we have used for LCD interfacing. Last 2 functions are new. So these 2 functions I will discuss. This unsigned integer A to D. Using this function, we convert analog signal on the channel 0 of microcontroller into digital signal. So it returns 16-bit data. That's why its return value is unsigned integer. And we are not passing any argument. So argument is void. Another function that we are going to use is modulo division. This function does not return any value. However, input value to this function is unsigned integer. Purpose of this modulo division is to separate out the digits in a given data. For example, using A to D function, using this function A to D function, will convert analog signal into digital signal, and our digital signal has 4 digits in result. 10 bit, if you convert 10 bits into decimal number, maximum you will get 4 digits. So with the help of modulo division function, we separate out digits in the result and we display those digits on the LCD display. So in detail, I will explain both functions. So LCD string, SM delay, delay MS, LCD CMD, all these functions I will be discussed in previous sessions. Main program. Oscillator control register is loaded with 0xEF so that on-chip oscillator frequency is 4 MHz. ADCON 0 register, just now we have discussed. ADCON 0 register must be loaded with 0x01. So it is loaded with 0x01. ADCON 1 register must be loaded with 0x0E. ADCON 1 register must be loaded with 0x0E. So that is done here. Next is ADCON 2 register must be loaded with 0xA4. This code word we have already calculated here. Then I am deciding direction for RA0 pin. AN0 channel is on RA0 pin. So AN0 channel must be input. And to make AN0 channel input, you must write this instruction trace bits dot trace 0 equal to 1. So when trace 0 bit is 1, RA0 channel becomes input. And on RA0 channel, we have enabled analog channel with the help of ADCON 1 register. So through ADCON 1 register, we have already made RA0 pin as an analog channel, and it is input analog channel. Our LCD is connected to port D and control pins of LCD are connected to port C. So this TRIS C and TRIS D I have configured as output port. Enable pin of LCD display must be initially connected to logic 0. I am calling now LCD initialization function here, and then I am displaying this message on the display, ATC welcomes you. So this message will be displayed. After that, I am adding delay of around 2.5 seconds. So this ATC welcomes you message will be there on the display for 2.5 seconds. After that, that message will be cleared as I am once again calling LCD initialization. So message will be cleared, and now I am displaying here ADC result on first row. So ADC result is displayed on first row. Now never ending while loop is created, and in this never ending while loop I am frequently digitizing analog signal on the AN0 pin, and that result I am displaying on the second row. So result is displayed on the second row. So I will discuss that part after that. Now we'll understand this A to D function. Let us understand this A to D function. This is the A to D function, very small function, only few instructions are there. In this function, one integer variable is created, and purpose of this integer variable is to save 10-bit result of ADC. Variable may store maximum 16 bits. So integer variable VR will always have 16 bits in the result, but last 10 bits in the variable VR are related to our ADC result. So to start ADC conversion process, inside this function, what I have done is ADCON 0 register is once again loaded with 0x01, although I have already selected here. So even if you do not type this instruction, program will work. So channel 0 is selected, ADC module is enabled. After that, you set go bit to 1. I already discussed this SFR. So when we set this go bit, initially when we loaded ADCON 0 register with our code word, we set go bit to 0. So conversion will not begin. When you set this go bit to 1, ADC conversion process will begin. ADC module will initially add acquisition time, so that on-chip capacitor in the ADC module will get charged to analog voltage, and then it will disconnect capacitor from the external pin, and then conversion will begin. So voltage sampled across capacitor will be used for actual conversion. So next instruction here is ADCON 0 bits dot go equal to 1. Instead of this instruction, even if you write go is equal to 1, it will work. So I am disabling this here. So you can use any one here. You can directly type go equal to 1. So once you said go bit to 1, ADC conversion process will begin with acquisition time followed by actual conversion. So till the conversion, we must wait. There are two ways to check end of conversion. One is by polling method, and another method is by interrupt. So I use here polling method. So what I am doing here is I am checking status of this go bit. There are two names for this bit, go as well as done. You can write any name here, go or done. Both names are allowed. What I am doing is I am checking ADCON 0 bits dot done equal to 1. You can simply write here done equal to 1 without this. It will work. So as long as this go done bit is 1, conversion is under progress. That is the meaning. The moment this bit becomes 0, automatically this bit is cleared to 0 by ADC hardware when conversion process completes. So we must wait here till conversion is under progress. Once conversion is complete, this while loop will be terminated. I have not written any curly bracket here. I have directly put semicolon. It means that under this while loop, there is no instruction. So this is another way to write the while loop. So once while loop is terminated, we must extract the result. Our result is available in AD result high byte register and AD result low byte register. And we have used write justified format. So let us see write justified format. So we use write justified format. So this format we have selected. In write justified format, our lower 8 bits are saved in AD result low byte register. AD result low byte. And upper 2 bits of the result are saved in last two positions of AD result high byte register. This is AD result high byte. Now let us understand how to combine the result. These two SFRs are 8 bit, and this result is divided into two parts. One part is in AD result low byte, one part is in AD result high byte. So we must combine these 10 bits together in one variable. And what is our variable here? We are saving our 10-bit result in this integer variable VR. So now what you do is, just to explain the concept, I will take some values. What I will do is, I will take result 10 here, for example. And these bits are, for example, 1100, 1100. So if you read result separately in 8 bit, then your result will be incorrect. You must combine all 10 bits together to get the entire result. So if you separately read this AD result high byte register, these first 6 bits are unimplemented in write justified format. So all bits will be read as 0. So when you read this AD result low byte register, you will read number like 0x02, but your result is something else. Understand? Your result is different. So let us combine this result. So initially what I am doing in this program is I am saving content of AD result high byte in variable VR. VR is integer type. VR is integer type. So what will happen now? Our VR is equal to AD result high byte. I have taken some random binary digits here just for explaining the concept. So what is our actual content now? If these 2 bits in AD result high byte are 10, then VR will have value equal to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Total 16 bits are there. Then again 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. So once we save result of AD result high byte in variable VR, content of VR will be this. So I hope you have understood. Now correct position, these 2 bits are last 2 bits here in this variable. They should be here because in actual result last 8 bits are saved in AD result low byte register. So what we need to do is we need to shift content of VR by how many positions? 8 positions. And towards which side? Towards left hand side. So what I am doing here is in next instruction I am shifting content of VR by 8 positions towards left hand side. So this portion of instruction, what it does is, let me copy here. So when we perform this operation, shift VR 8 times towards left hand side. So what will happen is after this instruction, after execution of this instruction, content of VR will be it will become 10, and in last positions it will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So after shifting 8 times, this 10 will move here. It will come here. Now we must place last 8 bits in the AD result low byte register in this position. So this last 8 bits should be written in last 8 bits of variable VR, and it is done by this ORing operation. So ORing is done. Remember, in VR total 16 bits are there. So when we perform ORing of 16-bit register with 8-bit register, then ORing is done on the last 8 bits. So when we do ORing, so ORing will be now this first 8 bits will be unaffected in the ORing operation. We are doing ORing of VR with AD result low byte register. So ORing now, this one, when we OR with 0, result is 1. When we OR with this 0, result is 1. ORing of 0 with this 0, 0. ORing of this 0 with this 0, 0. ORing of 1 with this 0, result is 1. ORing of 1 with this 0, result is 1. And ORing of last 2 zeros with 0, 0, result is 0, 0. Now what happened here is that through shifting operation and through ORing operation, we have combined result in AD result high byte, AD result low byte together in one variable, that is VR. So we have now 10-bit result saved in variable VR, where upper 6 bits are not used because our actual result is 10 bits. So I hope you have understood what is the importance of here left shift operation and ORing operation. So with left shift operation and ORing operation, we have combined result in two registers, which is there in two registers separately into 10-bit result. And at the end of the function, I am returning this result. So return VR. So whenever you expect something return value from the function, see, this function will return 16-bit result, and our 16-bit result is in VR. Out of this 16-bit, actual information is saved in 10 bits, last 10 bits of variable VR. So there is return instruction, it returns value of VR to the calling function. So if you go back to calling function now, here we are calling this function VA is equal to A to D. So when this function is called, analog to digital conversion is done and result is returned and it is assigned to variable VA. Now we have got 10-bit result in VA. Remember, variable VA is 16-bit, but actual result is in last 10 bits of variable VA. Now we must display this result on LCD display. Our result is in hexadecimal format. So what we'll do is we'll convert this result into 4 separate digits. We'll take one example. So let us first of all see this modular division function. We are passing this VA as an argument to modular division function. This is modular division function. So this modular division function receives ADC result in temp1 variable. In temp1 variable, what we receive? ADC result. Two more variables are created inside this function, integer and character type. Integer variable is TMP and character variable is Y. So with the help of this function, what I am doing is I am separating out 4 digits in the result. In our case, maximum result is 0x3ff. 10-bit result, maximum value of result. Maximum value of result is 0x3ff in hex. If you convert 0x3ff into decimal, it will become 1023 decimal. And this is hex. Now let us assume that our result is 0x3ff. And what we want to do is we want to separate out digit 1, we want to separate digit 0, we want to separate digit 2, and we want to separate digit 3. So this digit separation we will do with the help of modular division. So what is first instruction in our modular division? Our ADC result is received in temp1 variable, and this M1, M2, M3, M4. These 4 variables are global variables which we have declared outside the main function. Look at here. After this hash pragma directive, I have declared these 4 variables. So these 4 variables are global variables. You can create local variables, that is up to you. So that is according to requirement. I have created global variables so that I can access these variables from main program. Now this M1 is equal to temp1 modulo. Percentage sign indicates that it is modular division. Modular division gives us only remainder, and this remainder is assigned to variable M1. So let me copy this code. So we'll discuss this 5 how many instructions? 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 instructions. So we'll discuss these 6 instructions. Let us assume that this temp1 contains temp1 is equal to 0x3ff. It means that in decimal it is 1023. So when your code is compiled for this instruction m1 equal to temp1 modulo 10, this compiler automatically converts this 0x3ff into decimal and then performs modulo division. So in decimal, your temp1 is m1 is equal to temp1, and temp1 contains now decimal 1023. It is modulo divided by 10. So what is the remainder of this instruction? After execution of this instruction, m1 is equal to temp1 modulo divided by 10. When you divide any decimal number by 10, maximum value of remainder is 9. When you divide any decimal number by 8, maximum remainder could be 7. When you divide any decimal number by 5, maximum value of remainder is 4, and so on. So as we are dividing this decimal number by 10 and division is modulo type, then maximum value of remainder could be 9. And in this case, result of this remainder will be 3. So after dividing 1023 by 10 for modulo division, m1 value will be here. I write value directly here. M1 value will be 3. So this 3 digit is separated with the help of modulo 10 division. Modulo means remainder. So when 1023 is modulo divided by 10, remainder is 3. Then next instruction is temp, variable temp. In this code, variable temp is integer. It is declared here, unsigned integer temp. Now what I am doing here is, this TMP is equal to temp1 divided by 10. Temp1 is dividend here and divisor is 10, and this is our conventional division. So in conventional division here, in this case, we will not save any remainder. We will get only quotient. So with the help of second instruction, what we get in temp is, this TMP is equal to, value of TMP1 is 1023 divided by 10. So result will be 102. So after executing the second instruction, what we get here is 102. Now what we want to do is, we want to separate out digit 2. Now next what is done, this m2 is equal to TMP modulo 10. m2 is equal to TMP modulo 10. And what is value of what value TMP contains? TMP contains here 102. So what we get here is 102 modulo divided by 10. So we get here remainder. And what is remainder here? Remainder is 2. So m2 will have value equal to decimal 2. Then next, what is done? One more variable is used, intermediate variable, and that is character type. Because after separating out 2 digits, it is expected that our remaining result is in character form. So now this variable is y. It is unsigned character. So y is here unsigned character. So what is done here? Conventional division is done. That is y is equal to TMP divided by 10. Here divisor is 10, dividend is TMP. So result of this division is quotient, and this quotient will be assigned to y. So now y will be as good as TMP value. What is TMP value here? TMP value is 102. Conventional division. What is the quotient here? Quotient is 10. Remainder is 2. Quotient will be assigned to y. So y will have value equal to 10. Now next instruction is m3 is equal to y modulo divided by 10. So what is the value of y? 10. So m3 is equal to now y modulo 10. Value of y is 10 divided by modulo 10. What is the remainder here? Remainder is 0. So this is 0. Last instruction is y divided by 10. What is value of y? Y has value 10. 10 by 10. What do we get here? We get 1. So we are interested here in 4 digits and which are saved in M1, M2, M3, M4. So our 4 bits are saved in M1, M2, M3, M4. And what is our result in decimal? This result can be any value in between 0 to 1023 on decimal scale. For case study, I have taken ADC result equal to 1023. So you will see here, this M4 contains most significant digit in decimal, that is 1. M3 contains this, then next decimal digit. All these digits are decimal, remember. M2 contains decimal digit 2 and M1 contains decimal digit 3. So these 4 digits we have separated out with the help of modular division and conventional division together. Now we will display these 4 digits on LCD display. As I already mentioned, your digits must be in ASCII format. Your digits are in decimal format on a scale of 0 to 9. On a scale of 0 to 9, you have digits. So these digits in decimal must be converted into ASCII in order to display on the LCD display. So to convert decimal digits on a 0 to 9 scale, you must add hexadecimal 30. For conversion of character, formula is different. So when you add hexadecimal 30 into all 4 digits, your digits will get converted to ASCII format and then you can display on the LCD display. So in each variable M1, M2, M3, M4, I have added hexadecimal 30 so that all decimal digits get converted to ASCII format. Let us go back to main program. In main program, what is done? We have first of all called A to D function. So with the help of this function, we have converted analog signal into digital signal and it is saved in variable VA. This variable VA is passed as an argument to the modular division function. In modular division function, 4 digits in variable VA are separated out and they are converted into ASCII format. Now what I am doing is, I am writing these 4 digits on second row of the LCD display. So you must execute this command LCD CMD 0xC0. So with the help of this command, I am putting cursor on the first position of second row of the display. And then I am displaying these 4 digits with the help of LCD data function. I am not calling LCD string. So I am calling LCD data function and I am passing ASCII value of digits saved in M4, M3, M2, M1. I am calling then delay function and adding delay of around 1 second and then same program repeats again and again. Same program repeats again and again. So after every 1 second, signal on the analog pin is converted into digital value and that signal I am displaying on the LCD display. And I think I have already showed you video. So let me once again show you. Let me once again show you video of A to D conversion. In this video, I will explain use of peak development board given in IoT kit. In this peak development, I will bypass circuit serial programming grounded through 1K registers. Port B pin of the there is one pull-up resistor. Remove this wire. For example, with the help of program and make that port pin on and off. Powered on. See what I have done here. You will see in this video. In this video, on the display, you will see ADC result. So ADC result text is displayed on first row and actual 4 digits are displayed on second row. Here code is written for analog to digital conversion. You will see here, these 4 digits are 0, 1, 1. What I have done is, this analog signal on RA0 port pin is digitized and displayed on the display. So what I need to do is, I must connect analog 0 pin to output of this streamer port. Yes, you will see in this video, this analog 0 channel is connected to output of this analog port. So when I change position of the trimmer pot, analog voltage will change, and accordingly numbers on the display will also change.
What is the digital value here? Digital value is 75. Now if I change analog voltage by rotating this trimmer pot, then this digitized value will change. I am increasing output voltage.
So discussion of this code is over. Just one thing I want to show here is we can also do simulation, and to do the simulation you must select simulator. To select the simulator, right click on your project. I am using another version, so I must select project properties. To select the properties, click on the file menu and scroll down to project properties. This dialog will open. In this dialog, look at this list box, connected hardware tool. So what you do is you enable this checkbox, show all, and click on the list box here. So one drop down list will appear. Select simulator. Select simulator and click apply. So this way we can select simulator. Now I will explain how to add breakpoint. To add breakpoint anywhere on any program line, look at here, line numbers are displayed. I am moving my cursor. So line numbers are displayed here. Say for example, if I want to put breakpoint in front of LCD and INT function, just click it here. Breakpoint is indicated by red square. When you once again click on the same line, breakpoint will be removed. If I click it, breakpoint will be added. By adding breakpoint in the program, what we can do is, when we start the simulation, program execution will begin. Program will be executed till breakpoint is encountered. Once the breakpoint is encountered, program execution will be halted. So with the addition of breakpoint, what you can do is you can view content of variables, content of SFRs, content of program memory before breakpoint is encountered. So program will be halted here, and you can see content of any SFR, any variable, EEPROM memory, and so on. So let me start the simulator. Look at here, there is the icon here. When you click on this icon, your project will first of all build, and after that you will see multiple icons here. Look at cursor position here. I repeat the step once again. After selecting the simulator from properties, you click on this icon. Cursor position, just look at the cursor position. You click on this icon, project will be first of all built, and after that simulator will be loaded, and with the help of these icons we can control the simulation. Like we can go for single stepping, we can do reset, we can do multiple operations. So this icon here, when I put cursor on this icon is used for reset purpose. So if I click on it, my cursor is placed on main function, and there is one arrow here, green arrow. After 99 number, next row you will see there is one green arrow pointing towards void main function. So program execution is halted right now. So what you can do is you can start execution by clicking on this icon, green icon with green circle with play button. So if I click on it, program execution will be started till breakpoint is encountered. We have added breakpoint on line number 120, and you will see green arrow is pointing towards LCD INIT. So our program is halted here. So once again, if I click on this icon, continue, program execution will begin after breakpoint. Program execution once again started. And now program is somewhere inside this while loop. So now I will show you single stepping. So I pause this program here. I am going to reset it. Now I am at main function. There is one more icon here. It is used for step over. So when you click this icon, code on that line will be executed and it will go to next line. Look at here. I have executed. Now it is at adcon 0x01. That is first instruction inside the main function is executed. And now control is on the second instruction. So once again, if I click on step over, next instruction will be executed. So you can execute code on the single line at a time with the help of step over function in the simulator. Look at it, I am executing one line at a time. Now what I will do is, I will show you one more thing. It is possible to give stimulus on the analog channel in the simulator. You cannot connect external peripheral devices. However, you can simulate some voltage conditions on microcontroller port pin. You can apply logic 0, you can apply logic 1, you can apply analog voltage. So this is possible here. So to apply stimulus, what we will do is, just click on the Windows menu, scroll down to simulator. I repeat the step. To apply analog voltage on analog 0 channel in simulation, click on the window menu, scroll down to simulator and select stimulus. It is open here. This stimulus is open in task pane and you will see there is analog channel. Let me delete it first. So what I will do is, in the stimulus window, what is written here? Fire, pin, action, value, unit, comments. So let us select here N0 channel because our analog signal is on N0 channel. So just type in this edit box N0 under pin tab N0. Action. We can apply logic 1, logic 0, analog. As our channel is analog, select option of set voltage. What I am selecting here? Set voltage selected. Set voltage is selected. Now enter value. I am entering value equal to 1 volt. Unit is volts. So 1 volt is entered. So this 1 volt we can consider in our simulation and we can see what is the content of our SFR. So I will also open SFR window. So once again click on window menu, scroll down to target memory views and select SFRs. I repeat, to see ADC result in SFR, click on the window menu, scroll down to target memory views. One more sub menu will pop up. Select SFRs. So in this task pane, there are different tabs: SFR, stimulus, output. These tabs are there. So we'll navigate through these tabs in order to see content of result. Now in port D, this is previous simulation data. So what I will do is, I will clear this. So sorry, our result is in ADC. AD result high byte, AD result low byte. So I am clearing. Already result is cleared. AD result low byte, AD result high byte, and result of both registers together. It is just in simulation. ADRES register does not exist in microcontroller IC. So ADRES is present only in the simulator, and this result, this ADRES hold 10-bit result together for ADRESH and ADRESL. Now what I will do is, I will add breakpoint somewhere here on line number 126. So our program will be executed here up to this point. Now what I am going to do is, I am resetting the program. Then I am starting the simulation, continue with this continue button. What is our result? Still it is 0. Why it is 0? Because we have not yet added stimulus voltage on the analog pin. To add stimulus voltage, what we must do is, we must click on the fire here. Look at here, what is written here? Fire. So click on the stimulus tab and click on this fire. Clicked. At the bottom side of this window, you will see here asynchronous stimulus state voltage N0 fired. That means 1.0 volt is applied on the analog 0 channel. Now we can go to SFR and see the result. But as program is halted at breakpoint, we must click on simulation. The moment I started the simulation, after execution of this modular division function, program is halted at LCD CMD, and you will see here now content of AD result AD result is 204 decimal. For 1 volt voltage, what is the result? 204. And how it is calculated? Our step size is 4.88 millivolt. So your decimal result, ADC decimal result is analog voltage divided by step size. Analog voltage divided by step size. So for 5 volt reference voltage, step size is 4.88 millivolt. Analog voltage is, in our case, it is 1 volt. 1 volt divided by 4.88 into 10 raised to minus 3. And you will find that this will be equal to 204. So for 1 volt, decimal result is 204. And in our simulation, you will see it. So here, our result is displayed here in red color. Look at here, 204, cursor position. Our result is 204. ADRES register does not exist. In simulator, it exists, and it combines result in AD result low byte, AD result high byte together, so that we can interpret the result. Now, we will change the stimulus voltage. What we will do is, I will make the stimulus voltage 2 volt. After changing this voltage, you must once again click on this fire. Look at my cursor position. Click mouse or press space key to fire the stimulus. Clicked. So asynchronous stimulus state voltage N0 fired. That means in the simulation, 2 volt will be considered for digital conversion. So I am clicking the tab of SFRs so that we can see change in result. Now click on continue here. At the top, there is icon here in the simulator panel. Continue. Click it. Now result is 409. The result is 409. So if I calculate here ADC result, our analog voltage is now 2. Step size is same, 4.88 millivolt. So this will be equal to 409. So this way you can make use of simulator. So you can change the value, stimulus value, and you can see the result. Now what we'll do is, we'll do simulation of ADC module with the help of Proteus simulation software. So we will make use of Proteus simulation software for simulating this same program. So I request Mr. Shubham Omase to come in and deliver small session using Proteus simulation software. So let me change the project properties first. I am removing simulator from here, no tool. Simulator is already running. Let me first of all stop. Then so I removed simulator so that hex file which is generated after running this program will be used for Proteus simulation.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. Last time we saw that how to simulate simple LED blinking program using PIC 18F4520 microcontroller in Proteus software. Today we are going to learn how to simulate ADC program using PIC 18F4520 microcontroller in Proteus software. So we are going to follow the same steps that we have followed while performing LED blinking simulation. So just let me share my Proteus screen. Now you can see that we have opened the Proteus software. We will start with the beginning. We'll create first new project. To create new project, just click on the file, select the new project, give name. We will give name as ADC and just click next. Just set the default values, click next, again next, and finish it. Okay. After creating new project, first thing to do is make the list of components we are going to need for simulation of ADC program. Okay, the first thing we are going to need is a PIC18F4520 microcontroller. Second is LCD display, 16:2 LCD display. Third one is a potentiometer to divide voltage at the pin AN0, which we have written in our program. So we will just select these components. Okay, to select, I will just do it again. To select the components, just you have to click on this yellow icon, component mode, and after that, click on P icon and just type the component name. It is PIC 18F4520. Okay. After that, just click on it and click OK. It will appear here. Okay. After that, we will select second component, which is LCD. After typing LCD, you will see whole list of components, but you have to select the component we are going to need. So we are going to need 16:2 LCD display. You can see here. Okay. So select that. Just click OK. Okay. You can see here where it is appeared here in the list, component list. After that, to select the port, the keyword is you have to just type HG, and after that you will see port HG active. The active means you can change the values of that component while performing simulation. When the simulation is in process, you can change the value of that component. So just check it is active and select port HG. Okay, the keyword is HG. Okay, after that just click OK. Okay, and after that we are going to need a resistor. I will tell you why we are going to need a resistor. Just select RES and click OK. Fantastic. We will just drag these components. After just click to drag, just click and click on the component list, choose that component and click on the workspace. Okay. Okay. After that, we will take our LCD, we will place it here. Okay. And after that, we will take our port, we will place it here. Okay. I will tell you how to use the resistor and what is the reason. So what we will do, we will make connection with the LCD. We will interface LCD with the microcontroller. We'll make connections according to program we have written. So we'll check just the program. Okay. So I'm not able to close this window. Not able to close this window. This window. Okay, I'm just using it as it is. Okay, this window is not closing. We'll just keep it as it is. We'll check the pins. Okay, the first two pins are enable and select resistor. RS resistor select. Okay, you will make connection of that first. RC2 is connected to enable pin. So RC2 here you can see RC2 is connected to enable pin. So we will just make connection. Okay. After that, resistor select is connected to RC1. Okay. Resistor select is connected to RC1. We'll just make that connection also. After that, if you check the data we have written on port D in LCD data, you can see that data we have written on port D. So what we will do, we will just directly connect port D to the port of LCD, means data pins of LCD. To do that, what we will do, we will just connect respective pins of LCD and microcontroller. D0 to D0, RD0 to D0 of LCD. Okay. The LCD is being operated in 8-bit mode. So we have to connect all the 8 port pins to the LCD. Okay. After LCD finishing, interfacing LCD, what we have to do, we have to give power supply and the contrast voltage. How to do that? And just select on this sinusoidal icon, generator mode, select DC and place this power supply over here. Okay. After that, just click here and just connect with VDD. As we are going to provide positive voltage, we have to connect it with VDD. To change component value or edit any component, you have to click right on it, click right and edit properties. And after that, set the voltage. DC, select voltage. Select 5 volt. Okay. And after that, VSS is must be connected to ground. So to select ground, click here, terminal mode, select ground, just click here. I'll just make it focus. And after that, we will connect VSS to ground. Now, 2 pins are remaining, still remaining. The first remaining pin is VEE, which is used for controlling contrast of characters displayed on LCD display. Okay, so what do I mean by that? The intensity of these characters being displayed on this LCD display is controlled by this pin. Okay, voltage on this pin. So what we will do, we will make connection between ground and this pin using this resistor. Why we have to put resistor? I will just tell you that. I will just make it horizontal. Sorry, vertical. Drag it. Okay, and I will change this value to 2.2K. Why 2.2K? Because in practical, you will find that 2.2K, after selecting 2.2K value for contrast, it gives perfect contrast for characters. So it is 2.2K. Okay, just click OK. And after that, we will connect it with ground. Okay. And after that, this is read-write resistor. If you want to read data back from LCD to microcontroller, you have to connect it with microcontroller port pin. But time being, we are not going to read that data, LCD data from LCD data to the back to the microcontroller. So we are going to connect to ground also. Okay, so LCD interfacing is finished here. After that, what we will do, we will make connection of pot with microcontroller. So we have chosen the RA0 pin for ADC. So I will just make this connection, and after that we have to give power supply to this also. So select DC, and after that just click here, and we have to connect ground. As you can see here, the resistor value is, potentiometer value is 1K. So we have to change it to 10K. So we can see more variation. Just select 10K. Okay. And after that, we have seen that MCLR is on in our program. So we have to give 5 volt also to MCLR pin. Just click here. Okay. Select 5 volt. I think here also we have to set 5 volt. Okay. After that, the only thing remaining is we have to download the hex file into this microcontroller. Okay. So do that. We will see. It's okay. I will do it. Okay. For that, just build it again. It is in, still in simulation mode. Sir, what I will do, I will just restart. No. What I will do, I will take the previous hex. Okay. We do not have to do this. Just click right on it, and after that, 4 megahertz is the value, and select the program file, which is written in this folder, pick IoTX. This. Okay. Just select this value, this hex file. Just click open. Click OK. After that, we have to just click on play, this button, and simulation will start. ATC welcomes you. Okay, everything is perfect. ADC result. Actually, sir has put one breakpoint, so that's why it is not going forward. I will just restart the MPLabX ID again, and we will do simulation again. There is, I think, breakpoint has removed automatically. So just we will go with this. Okay. After removing breakpoint, we'll start simulation again. Okay. Sir, breakpoint has not removed. Breakpoint is still there. is not showing the data. Breakpoint is still there. So what we will do, the breakpoint that we have put earlier is not removed. So what we'll do, we will continue tomorrow. So we'll do it manually and show you the simulation. This is the entire process. This is we have done everything correctly. So there is some problem with the program. We are not able to see the breakpoint is where we have placed. So we will continue tomorrow. Okay. So this is the circuit, and we will see tomorrow. Okay.
So I will continue for few minutes. So I think I can speak only for next 10 minutes. I'll quickly talk about now interrupts instead of going for I2C protocol because of limited time. So what I will do is I will discuss very small piece of code for interrupt programming. So what I will do is we'll make use of RB0 pin. We'll consider interrupt on RB0 pin in case study. So I will show only one pin, RB0. What we'll do is we'll connect pull-up register to RB0 pin. This pull-up register is connected to 5 volt supply. Register is 10K, and we'll connect switch in between RB0 pin and ground. So we have here switch. So when switch is open, logic 1 is applied on the RB0 pin, and when we close the switch, logic 0 will get applied to the RB0 pin. So this on RB0 pin will enable external interrupt. The external interrupt on RB0 pin is called INT0. Interrupt 0. There are 3 hardware interrupts: INT0, INT1, INT2, INT2. INT1 interrupt is on RB1 pin, INT2 interrupt is on RB2 pin, and so on. So what we'll do is we'll trigger interrupt on RB0 pin. We'll first of all enable interrupt on INT0 pin. We'll trigger it, and then we'll detect it. After detecting the interrupt, we'll execute program for that interrupt, and that subroutine is called interrupt service routine. So we'll write interrupt service routine for INT0 interrupt, and for enabling the interrupt, there is interrupt complete section on interrupt. So in the application note, just you go to the interrupt section. Section number 9.0, it is on interrupt. There are many interrupt sources available in PIC 18F4520. For demonstration purpose, I will consider one external hardware interrupt, and while writing serial communication code, we will consider interrupt related to UART module. So there are control registers, peripheral interrupt request registers, and peripheral interrupt enabled registers. So for example, in RCON register, some bits are associated with on-chip interrupt handling module. With the help of interrupt control register, we can selectively enable some of the interrupt sources. And there is one important bit in interrupt control register, INT-CON register. INT-CON stands for interrupt control register. There is one bit called GIE. With the help of GIE, we can enable or disable all interrupt sources. So this is called global interrupt enable bit. GIE stands for global interrupt enable bit. So when this bit is 0, all interrupts are disabled. All interrupts are masked. None of the interrupt will be triggered even though you apply the signal. But when GIE bit is enabled, the interrupt sources which are selectively enabled, those interrupts can be triggered. This next bit is PIE bit. It is called peripheral interrupt enable bit. Peripheral devices are like timers, ADC module. These devices are called peripheral devices. So if you want to enable the interrupt for these peripheral devices, this PIE bit must be 1. The next is timer 0 interrupt enable bit, TMR 0IE. So after overflow of the timer, if you want to enable the interrupt, then that is done with the help of this bit, TMR 0IE bit. When this bit is 1, when timer 0 overflows, interrupt will be triggered. Next is INT 0IE, interrupt 0 enable bit. This interrupt 0 is on RB0 pin, and we want to enable this interrupt. So this bit must be 1 in our case. This is not peripheral interrupt. So even though if you keep this PI bit at logic 0 or logic 1, it doesn't matter. So timing I am taking this as a 1. This is again 1. We don't want timer 0 interrupt, it is 0. We don't want port bit change interrupt. Then flag bits. This flag bit value on power on reset it is 0, but we'll write it 0 once again. And other bits can be anything because timer 0 IF. This is related to timer 0. When timer 0 overflows, timer 0 IF flag bit is set. Each and every peripheral device have corresponding flag bits. For interrupt 0, corresponding flag bit is INT 0 IF. So whenever interrupt on RB0 pin occurs, this INT 0 IF flag bit will be set. And by checking the status of this bit, we can detect whether interrupt 0 is occurred or not. So initially this bit must be 0. If you set it to 1, interrupt will be triggered. Then RBIF, it is related to port B change interrupt flag bit. So it is not related to our program. So this bit I have set it to 0. Then there is next register called INT con2 register, interrupt control register 2. In this register, one bit is relevant to us for interrupt 0 interrupt, and that is INT EG0. This bit is important for us. When this bit is 1, rising edge interrupt is triggered, and when this bit is 0, falling edge interrupt is triggered. Let me go back to here. When interrupt is not triggered, continuously there is logic 1 on the RB0 pin, and when we close the switch, what happens is that continuously it is logic 1, 5 volt. When switch is closed, it goes to logic 0. When switch is again open, it goes to logic 1. It means that whenever we want to trigger the interrupt after closing the switch, we must configure interrupt for falling edge. So whenever we close the switch, there will be falling edge here, and we want interrupt on falling edge. So therefore, this INT EG0 bit should be logic 0. When this bit is 1, interrupt on rising edge will be triggered. You can also make use of interrupt on rising edge. So what you need to do is you need to do modification here. So modification is, again you have microcontroller. I am showing same pin. This is RB0 pin. RB0 pin. Now what you need to do is you use here pull down register of 10K value and connect switch in between 5 volt and RB0 pin. So when switch is open, logic 0 is applied, and when switch is closed, logic 1 will be applied. So continuously signal will be at logic 0, and when switch is closed, it will rise to 5 volt, and when switch is again open, it will go down to logic 0. So in this case, when we use pull down register, we must configure interrupt for rising edge. So interrupt on RB0, RB1, RB2 pins are edge triggered interrupts. So whenever there is edge, maybe rising edge or falling edge, interrupt will be triggered. So depending upon your requirement, you can either select rising edge triggered interrupt or falling edge triggered. It is up to you. There is weak pull-up resistor on port B, and this bit is active low. When this bit is low, weak pull-up resistor on chip PIC microcontroller on port B will get enabled. Weak pull-up in the sense, resistance value of this pull-up resistor is around 100 kilo ohm. That's why it is called weak pull-up. When value of pull-up resistor is small, like 10K, 20K, it is called strong pull-up resistor. So in PIC microcontroller on port B, there is weak pull-up resistor. So this weak pull-up resistor we can enable by making RBPU bar bit 0. RBPU means port B pull-up enable bit. When it is 1, all port B pull-ups are disabled, and when it is 0, pull-ups are enabled. We don't want pull-up here because externally we will connect pull-up resistor. So this bit should be 1. This bit should be 0. As we are not using other interrupts here, these bits can have any other value. This timer 0 IP. IP stands for interrupt priority. So, timer 0 overflow interrupt priority bit. When this bit is 1, interrupt is configured for high priority, and when this bit is 0, interrupt is configured for low priority. So what I will do is, I will end today's session here. We'll go for question answers. If it doesn't perform OR operation after shifting operation, then what will happen? Can we skip that step? No, you cannot uh, skip this step. Your result will not be combined because your result is in AD result high byte register, AD result low byte register. In order to combine this together, both steps are required. Left shifting as well as ORing operation, and then only you will have 10-bit result altogether in one variable. Sir, why we have considered data type of Y is character? You can consider integer, no problem. The reason is, when we separate out 2 digits, after performing division, our result is 8-bit. In one of our variable, we are saving 8-bit result. So just to save the data memory, I use character type of data for Y variable. That is the reason. So I am answering question of Samruddhi Nakudkar. So data type, even if you consider integer, program will work. Can we consider it as unsigned integer? Yes, you can consider, program will work. The only thing is, instead of 1 byte memory, you require 2 byte memory. That's the only thing. What is the difference between conventional and modular division? As I already said, in conventional division, in our C program, we get result in the form of quotient after conventional division. Whereas in modular division, our result is in the form of remainder. That is the difference. Conventional division gives us quotient as a result, and modular division gives us remainder as a result. The compiler which I am using, there is no such problem. It is working properly. So you might be, I don't know, you might be using library function for division. So instead of using library function, you can go for conventional method. I don't know, means the X8 compiler gives us correct result. There is no rounding off. So once again, tomorrow we'll show, because of shortage of time, we'll once again write the code. That breakpoint is added somewhere and it is hidden. It is not visible. So we'll remove that. And once again, we'll show that simulation tomorrow at the beginning. Please again tell RW pin connection. Do we want to discuss this RW pin connection in Protein simulation software, or you want to understand what is the meaning of RW pin of LCD? Please write your full question. So RW pin is connected to logic 0. When it is connected to logic 0, we can write data to the LCD display. And when RW pin is connected to logic 1, we can read data from the LCD display. That's the only difference. And in my product, I'm not doing any read operation with respect to LCD display. So what I do is, I permanently ground RW pin. So Shubham sir will surely explain VE pin, because by adjusting voltage on the VE pin, we can control contrast of the LCD display. So with the help of VE pin, we can adjust whether we want low contrast or high contrast for displaying of character. That is the purpose of VE pin. So VE pin is contrast pin of LCD display. What is the hardware interrupt? Hardware interrupts are interrupt signals applied on the external pins of the microcontroller. So with the help of external peripheral devices, we can create it. Example is, for example, keypad. So if you want to interface keypad, then you can very easily do it with interrupts. Because for key detection, if you go for polling method means you can check particular condition on the port pin. Your processor will be busy. But if you go for interrupt based keypad interfacing, then processor time will be saved and it can be used for other application. So whenever you close the switch, interrupt will be triggered. So you need to detect which key is pressed. For example, if 4 keys are interfaced, you can detect which key is pressed by checking corresponding flag bit. And accordingly, you can implement some kind of operation in your product. When key 1 is pressed, product should function this. When key 2 is pressed, product should function Y operation. When key 3 is pressed, product should function Z operation, and so on. So hardware interrupt means interrupt signal when you apply on the external port pins of the microcontroller will get triggered. So such interrupt is called hardware interrupt. So interrupt signal must be applied in hardware on external pin. So there are 3 hardware interrupt pins. In fact, 4th is also there, but it must be indirectly used. So in most of my product, I am using four keys. So I am connecting those 4 keys on the hardware interrupt pins. Every day, whatever code we'll discuss in the session, same code will upload on the Google Drive. Don't worry. The code shared in Drive is giving some errors. So what are those errors? Please post it either to me on WhatsApp or to Mr. Shubham Momas. You will see. Codes are working because the codes which we built successful, those codes were uploading on the Google Drive. How to increase seat size in Proteus in case of large circuit diagram. So Mr. Shubham will cover that. For the interrupt register icon, interrupt control register 1, there is no INCON 1 register. There is INCON 2. INCON and INCON 2. INCON 1 register is not there. You can do it with the help of bit addressable instruction. So let me first of all go to interrupt control 2 register. Which bit you want to? Can you write your question? Your question seems to be incomplete. For INCON 1, how to make IPEN 0? What is this IPEN? Interrupt priority, you mean to say? First of all, INCON 1 register is not there. So I request Siddharth Sharma to write this question once again. How can we change analog input voltage to 1 or 2? Yes, we have connected potentiometer. By changing the potentiometer position, we can increase voltage from 0 to 5 volt. So through potentiometer it is possible. Tomorrow we'll repeat that. What can I do if I don't have PCB package of any specific component? For hardware practice, if you want to do hardware practice, you must have hardware with you if you want to do hands-on with hardware. So you can build simple kind of project, and you can get some experience. So by attending this session, definitely you will get knowledge. But if you want to do hands-on, then hardware is required. Okay, INT con IPN bit 7 bit. Okay. So there are multiple ways. You can use either bit addressable or byte addressable instruction. 7th bit is PIE bit in INT con. In INT con register, 7th bit is, what is bit? PIE bit, peripheral interrupt enable bit. As I already said, there are many interrupt sources in PIC microcontroller. So most of these interrupt sources are from peripheral devices. So if you want to enable interrupts on peripheral devices, then this bit must be 1. Whereas for external hardware interrupt, this bit is not related. So for external hardware interrupt, this bit can have any value. But for peripheral devices, if you want to enable the interrupt, PIE bit must be 1. So PIE bit, you can simply write in your code, PIE is equal to 1. That's it. And another instruction is INT con bits, it must be in capital. INT con bits in lowercase, dot PIE is equal to 1. That's it. So you can do this with bit addressable instruction, or you can also do it with byte addressable instruction. That is up to you. We'll give access to recorded sessions for 2 months. However, we have not given permission to download because this is our intellectual property. So we will give access for 2 months after end of our program. For PCB design, there is free software available. I have already shared on Google Drive. It is deep trace simulation software, and after 4 or 5 days, I am going to conduct one session on PCB design, where you will understand how to lay out the components and how to design the PCB. So don't worry, there is one session on it. For IPEN is equal to 0, there is confusion with this question. Where is IPN bit here? There is no IPN bit here. In INT con register, there is no, oh, you are seeing this IPN. So this IPN bit is in Archon register, remember. IPN bit is in Archon register. That's why there is confusion. This IPN bit is there in Archon register, reset control register. So by enabling this bit, we can decide priority, high priority or low priority, like that. So when this bit is 0, all interrupts will be high priority. And when this bit is enabled, then with the help of other bits in the other control registers, we can decide high priority or low priority for the interrupt. For low priority interrupt, vector address is low priority interrupts. This I am going to discuss tomorrow. Low priority interrupts have vector address is equal to 00018 hex. This is the vector address for low priority interrupt, and for high priority interrupt, vector address is 0008 hex. So vector addresses for high priority and low priority interrupts are separate. For peripheral interrupts, we can assign high priority or low priority, and this priority can be enabled or disabled with the help of IPEN bit in Archon register. So when IPEN bit is 1, we can selectively assign high priority or low priority, and when IPEN bit is 0, all interrupts have high priority. That's the mean. I think your confusion is cleared. So there is a request to upload videos on YouTube. I need to discuss with my team because it will go in public domain. Can we have Proteus file as a resource material? Yes, project file will share to you. Proteus project file will share definitely on Google Drive. Any other question? Our code is also written for 8-bit mode. Simulation of ADC did not. We will correct that. There is one breakpoint added and it is hidden in the file. So we'll write once again same code, because same code I use for shooting the video. So all questions in chat box are over. Tomorrow I will spend few minutes on interrupt. One small program will write, and after that immediately I am going to start very important protocol, that is I2C protocol. So I2C protocol is most widely used in industries for interfacing many peripheral devices, especially for capturing the sensor data. I am going to close today's meeting here. Thank you so much.